Hang on one sec.
My wife has been doing incredible baking for this, which I'm going to share. That'll be the last thing I share today.
Oh,
But the
cool.
last batch is coming out of the oven. They came out really good.
Oh, sweet.
Multiple types of baked goods.
Jamie, you should have saved like an apple core for your pie and had it like bursting out the center hole, you
Yeah.
know? Like
While I'm
painted it
pounding
red
that
or
idea.
something.
smoothie.
You know what I mean? The thing expanded. Am I right?
The thing expanded. Oh, hang on. We're live. I think we're live. Are
We
we
are
live now?
live. We are live.
Hey, happy
Hi
Hey,
Alien Day,
there.
everybody.
what's up,
Happy Alien Day.
everyone?
Welcome to Perfect Organism live.
Coming at ya.
Who are you, Jamie?
I don't know. Tell me.
Jamie,
No,
It's been a
welcome to
long
Perfect
day.
Organism, the Alien Saga podcast. I am your host, Jamie Prater, and I'm joined by my co-hosts
Patrick Green.
Perry Chicos.
Holden Wilhoit.
And Christian Matska.
and Xander in our chat room.
Hey,
Gander in the
everybody.
wings.
How's
We
everybody's
have
Alien Day?
oh, it's been wild. Andy is currently chaperoning about 4,000 children to on a Disney trip, so she regretfully has to miss. And
Yes,
Adam
this
has
is a
just
sausage
traveled
party.
back up the Adam has just traveled back up the East Coast and isn't feeling his best. But I'm really excited because I get to see aliens with Adam tomorrow in person, in Manhattan, which is really cool. It's been a cool Alien Day.
It has been fun. Yeah, it's
It
been.
really has. Yeah. I would say this year has been like the most um that I've like shared interaction, at least on like via Instagram and things that we've been getting, the amount of people putting things out, like those mugs, other people doing t-shirts, obviously Cavity Colors. There's that graveyard one I shared with you guys. It was awesome. I'm gonna get that alien shirt. Uh yeah, it's just been so fun.
There's also the Rucking Fountain
That's
shirts
a
too.
new one.
Yes,
That's a new
yes.
one, yeah. Pretty cool.
I was trying to think of the name. Like, that's not it.
Is that really the
I gotta
name?
say,
Rucking
like
Fountain?
Rucking
Rucking
Fountain.
Fountain.
That's
Yeah.
hilarious.
It sounds kind of like Scottish or something. I don't know.
Oh,
Rucking
while we're doing
Fountain.
this, can someone share this link to? How do we share it to Facebook? Anyways, maybe we don't need to. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll do it live and then we'll figure. This is live entertainment, folks. This
We'll
is
do
you're
it
seeing
live.
the sausage getting made. I have to say, so speaking personally, I've had a great time today, and a lot of that is because the day started with like very direct reach out from the studio making this television series. They gave us these two very cool clips this morning. One of which was like a very long comparative, to what we've gotten, look at quite a lot of elements for the first time. It, of course, was stitching together things we'd seen, like the really cool biological, which we now know was largely practical set pieces. And then with these beautiful interior shots of, this very Nostromo-esque ship. And that was really, it was nice because it is Alien Day, and something that we've struggled with a little bit for some years now is getting studio engagement with Alien Day. And this year, 100%, I feel like we had a lot of that. We've been able to speak with, FX in some capacity about trying to get the word out. We're running those, ads, which we're really excited about now. And we have these really cool videos to talk about and new canonical information to discuss and argue and banter back and forth about. And that I feel like is part of what makes us tick. So I think that's really cool this year.
I think so too. Yeah, I think that there was a lot to discuss. There was a lot to celebrate. Yeah, Christian and I were talking earlier about last year. There's just the difference between this year and last year, where there was a movie coming out and there was really essentially nothing. But this year we have a show coming out, and they front loaded it the day with a lot to discuss. Um, whether it's posters and videos, and yeah, two different videos, a longer one. But Patrick, you said that you found out that the biological stuff was practical. How'd
Christian,
you
you
Yeah.
want
find
to
that
tell us a
out?
little bit more about from
Well,
Mr. Mosca?
Alec Gillis shared on Instagram with links to the people who were involved. And it's a mixture of both practical and digital. And he was praising that we've gotten to this place where these two camps are working together on these things. And so, because we were having this discussion behind the scenes about, what are we seeing here? It's so fascinating, but how do they go about achieving it? And so to have Alec Gillis, of all people, come out and tell us, no, this is how they did it. And there's going to be more information coming, but he's involved in the show. But he's giving direct links to the people who really worked on this. So that's worth pursuing.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I've got to say, just right out of the gates at 9:00 when Eastern time, when we were told that there are 5 different alien species at play in this show, that piece of information goes so far for me in fixing some of the fears that I've had about this, because 4 out of the 5 we've never met before. We have no idea about, and there's room for those kinds of creatures potentially to run amok and have people actually know about that. Have the colonial marines have dealt with these things in the past. When you get to aliens, you know what I mean? It creates a much richer tapestry.
And the creature that we're seeing be growing, when it finally like comes out of the cocoon thing, it's not necessarily a xenomorph.
No,
It's
it's got
something
6
different.
legs.
Yeah.
It has a much more insect. Well,
It's almost
it's
like
a different kind of
spider-like.
insectoid. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
Brings me to my next point that has maybe come from some Kenner figures.
That the inspiration has.
Hell
A real
yeah!
true inspiration.
Bring it back.
Sergeant
I
Terry
think
A.
that- I
Palm
mean, it's-
Jr.
I think it's enormous. Jamie and I did we did 2 live videos this morning. One we got rid of because our connection was bad, and then we redid it with better connection. And we had a conversation a little bit about what a massive deal that is to find out this morning that there's 5 species, which it's funny because in any other like fandom, nobody would give 2 shits about it. But like we are called alien, like we are about that species of creature. Like that is what, although of course, alien can mean many things and blah, blah, blah. But like in terms of, biology, we are talking about this XX121 xenomorph all the time. And to think that now, like officially in a mainstream canon release, that we're going to be getting, more biological things to talk about, I just think is so cool. And I totally, to Christian's point, like the alien universe is already set up with a paradigm that they know about other life forms. Just as everybody knows, xenomorph just means, like other shapes, strange shape life forms of aliens. So like that is common knowledge. So it's not like it's not like this is contravening anything that we already have, but it is providing us with this whole new potential rich bedrock of stories to draw from. And I really like the idea that, now we know we have 5 companies. We know that these companies are competing with one another. We know Weyland-Yutani clearly wins, like because they're just the Pac-Man eating the ghosts everywhere they go. But now we have these 5 creatures, and what if one of them is to each company and they're all kind of trying to, out arms race each other? I think the implications of that are so cool and so scary. And up until today, I have been working with the assumption that this was about artificial intelligence and about synths, because that seems to be what's been hinted about in a lot of the, advertising and behind the scenes things that we've, discussed, and rumors and things. Now I'm thinking there could be even more to that. Like, what if it's like bioengineering and, marrying that with artificial intelligence, and like how quickly that can run amok, I think it's really exciting. Like my brain is really going. And I got to say, just today, I my primary social media forum is Reddit. I'm just in Reddit all the time. And not only has there been just like so much enthusiasm in Reddit today about these 2 things that happened this morning, and that poster, right? And also the avatar that FX put out, which is obviously I changed mine to that. I'm very excited about it. But in addition to that, like the amount of like conversations and debate that have happened as a result of this, of people being like, trying to put forth ideas about what these life forms could be and like where they could be coming from, and then people arguing and bringing up examples from the expanded universe and then going back. I mean, that is like what keeps fandoms alive, and that's really exciting. So I just feel like we're really well positioned for some very exciting stuff.
Yeah, this has been a really lively Alien Day in fandom. Like I haven't seen a lot of negativity, towards these teaser rollouts or anything like that. Like everyone seems pretty excited. It kind of makes me proud a little bit. Not gonna lie. Like it's really nice to see. It's been a great day so far.
Yeah, it's truly great to see how much. I mean, I know there's a lot of imagery behind the scenes and things from Romulus too, right? But it's just great to see like all of those folks come out, share behind the scenes photos, be proud of the work they put into that and want to share that with the community, especially today. It's just been phenomenal. Like even artists, comic book artists, uh, I don't know. I've just been like every time I go into Instagram, at least like which is, every couple minutes I'm in there, but like there's always something new to share, like to throw up on our story. And that's just been, I mean, to Jamie's point, it's been we haven't had that for a very long time. And it just feels so it just feels like home, right? Like we're all in it together, in this community together, and to have something new like Alien Earth to just grasp upon and theorize on and get to, talk about whatever mystery is behind all of this is like truly you bring it back home to like Alien, right? Like that's what we love so much about that movie is the mystery, the space jockey, the derelict, and where that came from. What does all that mean? And to be able to like feel bits of that again is just yeah, it just fills my heart, you know.
I'm really loving this press rollout so far. It's very shrouded in mystery. It's got everybody talking, everyone's theorizing. Like that's exactly what I wanted for the show to begin with. Like I don't want a single thing spoiled, I don't want to know any characters' names even. I want to go to this thing with a totally fresh perspective. And it seems like we're going to be able to do that, which I really appreciate.
It's great to see, to your point, Holden, this shrouded in this much mystery. And I know probably for a couple people it might be a little bit frustrating or whatever, or maybe just like, well, what is this? What's going on here? But and maybe I felt pangs of that myself, but at the end of the day, I don't know much. And that's exactly what I wanted to be going into the show. I don't want to know much. And what I also like is they're taking risks. We don't really, even with what we have seen, we don't know what we're seeing. We don't. Even with that clip that was released towards the end of last year, I think was that long ago, with the Parker clone on the in the mother room. We
You
don't
mean
know
Carl?
Coral, yeah.
Oh, it's good old Carl. He's back. They got your original Carl to play it.
Coral. But we don't know exactly what's happening. We don't know even if that footage is in the show. We don't know if that footage was shot for marketing reasons or if that's actually from the show. And I like that. I like not knowing. And for me, mystery is so important to Alien. And I think coming off of the marketing machine for Romulus, where everything was sort of thrown at the wall by the end and everything was just spoiled. To have this is just a treat. And in terms of fandom, like Alien fandom is a really good place to be. Everyone is, for the most part, respectful and kind, and you can just, I mean, I'm in chat rooms, I'm in forums, and people are just respectful to each other. And no one's insulting anybody. Everyone's just comes to the table with their own perspectives. But I can just see in how people are replying to each other that like, oh, hey, this is what I think, but that's interesting too. It's just a really great, healthy place to be right now. So I really a shout out to the fandom. It's awesome.
I feel like all of that crazy toxicity that in some ways birthed the show. I mean, like almost as a response to that. Not sorry, it didn't birth the show, birthed me being a part of the show because I kind of sought you out. Um, I really like that. I don't even remember those days anymore. Like I just feel
Oh,
like
I
we've
do.
we've come such a I
Yeah.
have nightmares about it, but we've just come such a long way. And also like to, there was so much insecurity, 6, 7 years ago when Disney, bought the properties and we were like, what is going to happen? And it's really cool now to be seeing, in very short time between them, like we had a movie that was a big hit last year, and now we have this marquee level television series, and like the internet seems very aware of this saga more than, usual lately. I feel like it's kind of being discussed and being talked about. And to your point, Jamie, it's being talked about almost universally in like an interested, curious, kind of like, oh, what's this going to be? Oh, he did Fargo. That's really cool. Like it's like good stuff. The show could come out and be terrible. We don't know yet. But I gotta say, like it feels like that's not going to be the way that it's received, because it just feels like there's a lot of excitement for it. I also, not to get off topic with the show, but just a couple other quick little shout outs from today. Uh, our friend Jason McKittrick owns this company called Cryptocurium, which does these amazing small collectible. They're really, really, really beautiful figures. A lot of Lovecraft, a lot of other kind of horror related things, and a lot of alien stuff. And he is doing an Alien Day special that you can still get if you go to cryptocurium.net. You can get your orders in there. He's a friend of the show. We love that dude and love his work. So, consider supporting him. And also, just in general, I don't know if this is because of Romulus, and because of Romulus, I became friends with so many like artists in the film industry that I wasn't already friends with in the past. But I feel like, to Perry's point, Instagram in particular was like flooded with art today. Like it's like and I was like, I guess I'm friends with like a lot of artists on Instagram now, because it was like everything I saw was just people doing these amazing pieces and stories, and like Ben Templesmith, who always does a really cool thing. Our production friends from Romulus, of course, and like getting to do the episode, with Tristan and Dane, and obviously their work speaks for itself. They like the fan creative spirit to me feels amazing right now. I've been sitting on a few things that I've been saving today that I want to share tomorrow, so they don't get buried too, just of like other independent artists doing just oil paintings and dioramas. And these things, it's not like these things have not always been out there, but I just really feel like it's a good indicator of the sort of momentum that these last few years have brought, and this kind of excitement that we're riding, and this people kind of reconnecting with the franchise in some really organic ways.
I went through my Instagram this morning wishing a happy Alien Day to people that worked on video games that we've interviewed, and voice actors and narrators and artists, and I got so many great responses back. There was just a sense of like, yeah, it is Alien Day. What are you doing? And just kind of making people who maybe were involved and aren't anymore, or maybe don't get recognized as often as they should for the work that they do, make sure that they feel like they're still included, because everyone should wish, Alex White, happy Alien Day, right? Things like that. It's just, we've benefited so much from so many creative people who have worked on these projects. And the beauty of the internet is that you do have the ability to contact them and just, give a little virtual hug or a high five.
For sure. And it also makes me think of, we released 3 episodes today. 2 of them specifically have content that's one released today, which is Beneath London, the story of alien war, which Christian and I interviewed Paul King and Doug
McCarthy.
Thank you. And that was a fantastic interview. And that 23-minute documentary released today. It's free on YouTube. And then we also interviewed, Patrick and I interviewed Chad and what's the other guy's name? Chad and Martin from the Alien 3 Legacy 4K restoration. And that is available for people to watch. If you go to, I think, A3K.net.
A34K.net.
A34K.net.
And which so is what we're doing tonight as soon as we finish this episode. I have it queued up downstairs. Yeah.
It's just great to see and to be involved with people who are releasing stuff for Alien Day for free. Like this is how tight this community is, that people work like us on projects sometimes for a couple years or a year or months or weeks to release it today for free just because they love being in fandom. I mean, what other fandom? I mean, I don't know. I'm not really as involved in any other fandom as I am in Alien, so I don't know how normal this is or how common it is, but it's certainly a really special place to be.
To that end, and I know it predated Alien Day by a little bit, but the Lego facehugger from a guy named Dickin Tutu is what he goes cute. By. This thing took the internet by storm. This is you could buy an actual Lego set of a bunny, and it had all the pieces you need to make a fantastic Lego facehugger. So that he put up there for free. You have to buy the set from Lego, but it's not an expensive set or a difficult, hard thing to find. And it's just more of that, for the love of sharing this thing with other people that love it as well.
It's funny, Christian, when that came out, I don't know if you were like looking at the charts for Lego sets, but that Lego set like exploded.
Wow.
And I remember like I went to Amazon just to, like look into it, and it was like the third best selling Lego set, this random ass bunny rabbit. And it's because of Dickon. And if you're not following Dickon on Instagram, you obviously should, because they also put up this incredible Alien 3 runner recently. And so like it's, yeah, seriously, amazing stuff.
Yeah, in the light of just sort of plugging some of these folks, I just also I hope people are listening to our interview with Ross, Mr. Dead Dark, tattoo artist over in the UK. He's amazing, has become a wonderful friend of the show most recently, and was just so gracious enough to provide his talent and want to create just a phenomenal Alien Day shirt for us, which is obviously, in light of our favorite Kenner figures, but specifically the Gorilla Alien, um, which I can go get in my closet. Uh, but the shirt is just so awesome. There's two versions on there. You can get the one with the gorilla on the back and our logo on the front left pocket. And then there's the other one with our logo sort of embedded in with the gorilla. And it's just, yeah, I absolutely love it. I'm gonna probably buy one for my daughter. Maybe my wife too, who knows? But I'll be sporting that shirt for a very long time. So, and definitely listen to the interview with him. It was just such a great soul, amazing human being, loves Alien, and just so talented. It's awesome we got him on this project.
Yeah, and Ross is also tuning in to this live stream now, and it's 2 in the
Oh,
morning
it
or
is.
3 in the morning
Oh,
over there.
God.
In the morning.
Hey, Ross.
What's up, Ross?
Yeah. Hey, Ross, your shirt is selling great. And I got to say, this year, we've learned a lot about making shirts because we've been doing it now for so long. And every year we kind of figure out, like, oh, we should do this a little different. Like, our collective knowledge about how to make shirts look good is at such a good place right now. So, like, this is going to look great when it comes out. It also, so when I uploaded the art, I uploaded it at 4 times the normal resolution. The file is like 20 megabytes. So you can get this as like a canvas. You can get it as a wall art. You can get it as a 7-foot tall flag. And if you get it just as the t-shirt resolution is just incredibly high. So all of Ross's colors and the beautiful depth of composition that he has will look really, really good. And like to Perry's point, the kind of the main kind of hero design that we have has the Perfect Organism logo that Jason Judah designed for us, which is just exquisite, and we put in every opportunity we have a chance to use that we do. That's on the front, and then the back has the gorilla, and it's really cool. So please pick it up. It's at our website. There's a link. You can just look us up on TeePublic or on our socials.
So what else?
I love how we're just
everybody-
like so tired.
How did everybody
Long
feel
day.
about the actual like content of the teasers they put out today? Like, did anybody spot anything neat? Anything you want to bring up? I I saw that they put in a sort of cocoon
Yes.
like thing like from Romulus. I really appreciate that sort of cohesiveness between the two. I think that's pretty awesome. I'm also loving the body horror angle quite a bit. It's very cool.
To have rebuilt the set, I know this is the Mansion instead of the Nostromo, but we're seeing a fair amount of recognizable locations from that original film recreated. And I just wonder, did they do all this for just this a very brief opening, or is this going to be a location that we spend some time in? And what would that be like? And so I'm just kind of weighing those options of like the absurdity of making something that detailed to only show it for an instant versus, is this something where maybe our characters will explore the ship, and what could that be like?
Which, to that point, Christian, and we can get into the substance of what you're asking, but I feel like this trailer is mostly digital assets, except for the beginning with the creature thing. I don't know if I just watched the trailer a few times and everything's very smooth. Not everything is in focus. It doesn't like the table. I think it's most of that's digitally rendered. I
was wondering that too. Well, as you pointed out, Jamie, there, we're so used to this at this point to seeing the drinking bird, the dippy
Yes.
bird,
Drinking chicken.
and
Drinking chicken.
What did you call it this morning? You're like, was it the drinking chicken? Yeah.
yes, Chad's drinking chicken.
Yeah.
And I know that when they made Alien Isolation, they made the choice to render the plume of feathers on the back of the dippy bird as a hard plastic shape because that was easier to do in a computer, right? And so here we have an instance where it's completely absent, which is fine, perfectly fine. But that kind of set off something in my brain too, of like, are we seeing something that isn't physically made? To have that huge room with a table, if that's not a location that the characters need to go into, did they actually make it? I don't know.
Yeah, and they would have to have animated the drinking chicken, and they didn't. But also interesting, I like that it wasn't on the table because we've seen it over and over and over. And what I know about Hawley is he's not here to tell us a story we've already been told before. Hawley's here to do something very different. That's one of the reasons why I'm so excited for the show. Is Hawley's stuff, whether you love it or you don't, even like Fargo, it's a little dark for me, but it's so well written. It's such elevated material. This is going to be a very elevated show. Like this isn't a slasher. This isn't like going to be all about nostalgia and telling like beats we've seen before. This is something very new, and I cannot wait. Which is, even though I want a release date and I want more, I'm glad that I want more. I'm glad that they're like, come here very slowly. They're like pulling us in.
They are, but they're running out of time to get us the release date because it's like, I mean, it must be coming out soon. There's a lot of rumblings that it's coming out in June. That's not confirmed or anything, but that's people are, that's the rumor mill at the moment. And if that's the case, like it'd be nice to get a date for this thing because it's coming up.
The series is coming out in June?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's not an announcement. That's just people, that's on the internet are saying that.
It have to be late June if they're calling it summer.
Yeah. Yeah, it could be wrong. Who knows?
Although sometimes studios call like May releases summer releases.
Yeah.
You have to respect the summer solstice in the film release.
It's technically late spring. No, I think people are really begging for this release date at this point. Like I didn't want to like get into that earlier with the whole Reddit conversation. Like everybody is just asking about it, and I think honestly that's a really great problem to have. It's funny, Micah of all people, my very even-tempered wife, was just asking me before I came upstairs. She's like, "Did they release the date yet?" And I was like, "No." And she's like, "What?" She was like shocked by it. But it's true. We're getting close to it.
We had the date of Romulus's release a year beforehand. We know the date of Predator Badlands, and that's not till November or something. It's
very strange.
It's a little strange. Now, I'm going to bring up my one major nitpick from today, which is there's all this gorgeous 1979 ambiance and the look of the ship and everything, and then boom, suddenly 1986 James Cameron Weyland-Yutani logo with Building Better Worlds right on it, and I'll be fine. I'll go to my fainting couch and take a moment, but I don't understand when you have the beautiful Egyptian style wings as a logo plastered all over the Nostromo. We know that was the symbol for the company at that time, and that carries over into Alien Isolation and a few other places. It's we know that somewhere before Ripley wakes up, they do switch the logo to the interconnecting letters, but why are we doing this? So I know it's a nitpick. It's a silly thing.
No, I think it's good. Those questions keep us honest.
Yeah, that's a great question, and that's exactly what we should be talking about. And that's our job, is to nitpick that stuff. But this could also just be advertising assets, just like the circular porthole, with the face on it. Like this might be just generated for this thing. And to Jamie's point about the CG,
my bad.
What's up?
No,
go for it.
That, like the Nostromo is old. They had been on their voyage for a while, so maybe that logo was updated by the company sometime after the Nostromo had the. There's what mental gymnastics you can do to.
Hey, that could be.
He's not wrong.
This is a precursor to a roundtable that we're going to be recording next week for release in about a week and a half, which will be sort of talking about these things like what did the company know and what did the company not know? We're not going to get into this now. I'm just telling you it's essentially the pitch for it. and where do these things fall? And I can't wait to hear Christian. Like, honestly, I can't wait to talk to Christian about this because I want to understand more. Because I know you have a lot to say about it. So I'm excited for next week.
I've got like a simple mind with this stuff. I have these I can point to where the factoid comes from, who wrote it, who published it, who verified it. I don't know why. It's just, and it's laid out in a very clear path for me. And so I will walk you through what I believe is true. but we're in a really interesting place. And again, to bring it back to the 5 alien species, that's a huge curveball. That shows that there's a lot more going on, as we knew would be true, that Noah Hawley has bigger plans, and we should be having more faith in him because he's going to deliver something amazing. Now, what I find fascinating is for years, there's been talk of, how would you introduce another alien race that could possibly rival the XX121 xenomorph? Because you're not just talking about a beautiful concept, you're talking about H.R. Giger's incredible brilliance in the design of this creature. And here's Noah Hawley, like, here's 4 more. I'm not just going to give you one, I'm going to give you 4 more things that I think can rival H.R. Giger's design. And that's a mic drop right there.
You know who has the capability, in my opinion, to make designs like that?
Dan Howell.
Carlos Huante.
Who's that?
Huante. He worked on the Dune
Prometheus?
films. He worked on Prometheus. His work is singular. It is singular. His work is really scary. It's very different. It conjures Giger, but not Giger. Like, you can feel like he did work for that Alien 5 film that Blomkamp never made.
Oh,
thankfully.
yeah. Okay.
I think
Super evocative, very scary.
One
All
take.
the art we've
Yeah.
seen 100,000
Yeah.
times.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think
Every time we
something-
share something and I'm like, did I share this already? It's always yes if it's Carlos Fonte. 'Cause we share this.
I was just going to add, I think something that's really great too is if you listen to any of our past podcast recordings, is like the main thing we always bring up is that everything we've gotten so far is always the same equation, right? Like with how the plot is progressed and how it ends, something gets blown out the airlock, all of that, right? Well, with the TV show, you can't do that every episode, right? And so, and obviously Holly knows that. And I think to Christian's point, and just with the knowledge now of the 5 organisms, the 5 corporations, something too we've been sort of grasping at and wanting more of is just like insider knowledge almost, or just like a looking glass eye into the company and what they knew, what they have been doing during all this time. And so to get that is so much more different, or in hopes that we're getting something like that, is just so much more different, new and fresh than what we sort of see a lot, what gets recycled a lot. And so I think that right there is, to all of your points, just adds to the excitement for this. I'm super stoked.
You know what I keep
And there
thinking
was-
about? Oh, go ahead, Christian.
No, you go.
So obviously watching Andor, love it, and I keep thinking about how cool it would be if this gives kind of the Andor treatment to Alien, which is like we've been shoving all this stuff into movies for such a long time and trying to convey these very big events, but doing it in this template that kind of has to have certain narrative things in place to function as a standalone movie. But in Andor, what's so beautiful is they just blow that out the window because they have so much time to. So like you have real like interesting, like you have to really be on the edge of your seat and paying attention to what's going on because like change is happening very gradually and very slowly. And like you watch, the first episode of the first season of Andor and the last episode of the last season of Andor, if you just watch those two, they're wildly different from one another. But you don't notice it because things are changing so gradually as the season's progressing that by the time everything's in place for that finale, it feels like this, it feels natural. I'm thinking how cool it's going to be because Hawley does this, you know, like he's that caliber of a storyteller. And to see him do that with Alien, we're like, especially we have 5 corporations now. Like, you know, this whole time we thought we just had Wayland Yutani and maybe Seegson, right? But now we have like, we don't even know these other Prodigy and all this shit. And now we're going to get to go see, you know, what happens inside those companies, like how those corporations, how, like, what their unique problems are, what their unique, you know, you know, disgusting, you know, backstabbing looks like. What, right, like how they're competing with one another and taking shortcuts, and the, you know, the capitalistic things that are going on. Like there's stories within each of those corporations that we have never seen before, and now we get a chance to like see these little character pieces play out, and they don't have to rush. Like, Perry made the best point of the night, I think, which is like we're not depending on a beacon getting somebody to go to a planet and then shooting something out of an airlock, because like we're not going anywhere. This is going to be on Earth and potentially for many seasons. That is like, I mean, we think
Yeah.
5 creatures is a big deal from a canon standpoint. 5 seasons is a universe,
Right?
right?
Yeah.
And
Ah,
to your
And
point, Patrick,
oh, go ahead.
I think Holly is absolutely the right man for this. Like, y'all are probably sick of hearing me talk about it, but I'm the #1 Noah Hawley fanboy. I love Fargo so much. Like, his ability to just like give you something and let you sit there and think about it, and he lets things breathe for entire seasons. Like, it's so good. He's definitely the perfect man for this job, in my opinion.
And I think a point that Perry made as well, like I think it's time that Alien stopped telling the same story. I think those stories have been told enough, which, you know, something's loose, point A to point B, get there, either get to a ship or get to this, and then blow it out the airlock. We've seen that in so many films in so many ways. And I think Hawley, because of the nature of TV for sure, and he has said, and we've discussed this, I can't tell that story. We have a bigger story to tell, but I also think it's time for the films to stop telling that story as well. It's time for the films to do something different, and that's going to take some work. So I'm excited what the show is sort of ushering in, because the reality is, after this show, just the first season of this show, people are going to look at the films differently. People are going to look at the next film differently. If the next, just say, for instance, the next film is it's in space or on a ship, people are going to be like, the show was so different than this. This was, you know what I mean? I think it's going to ask 20th century to really look into storytelling and to figure out a different way to tell a story of Alien. And I think we've all discussed how many stories that are possible, like with Wayland Yutani, and there's so many opportunities there to tell interesting, intriguing, unique stories. And I think Noah Hawley is setting that bar.
I think too, to that point, Jamie, like something 20th century, I hope realizes like they have a gold nugget here. Like Alien has has been just something that has stuck with us for so long, and there is a wide breadth of fandom for this franchise that is there, that is always wanting something more. Um and like it's a target audience that deserves that that focus and that just all that work that goes into telling a great story with great characters and giving us something that's fresh and new. I mean, you can see it with Andor, right? Like, and we know that fandom is ginormous. But you take a look at the Alien franchise and the fans and the people that just came out to, you know, Romulus, and we were in New York, went to that screening, and Jamie, even when we went to the premiere in LA, like there are people that love this franchise, and yeah, I really I'm high hopes for that. But I hope this becomes like more build upon the legacy that we've, you know, that we've been living through.
I've said this before, but James Cameron is the only person who's made an alien film that realized you could bypass the life cycle, that you can assume the audience understands how this works and get more mileage out of your runtime by having the characters reacting to things that have already been set in motion. And obviously, Noah Hawley doesn't have to worry about that. He has the room for whatever he needs, because I hate to say it, but in Romulus and a few other places, they've shortened the cycle to make it fit, instead of figuring out how to have the same scares and the same effects, not slow things down. I don't know how to explain that better, except that there's a beginning to every film post Aliens that feels like a weird, we're spinning our wheels. We're doing things we already know. And I'm a huge fan of the life cycle. I love seeing new iterations and whatever, but I don't need to see it again in a film anytime soon. And I'm hoping, since we're just putting this out into the universe, I'm hoping that whatever the next Alien film is will also recognize the value of what Cameron did and move us past that, have something already in play that the characters have to react to.
Yeah.
And with Noah Hawley, he has the luxury to do it both ways. We can have things, a character could be face hugged, and we have to see how that plays out over 7-8 episodes if he wants to do it that way. Or it could be, this all happened and we're just discovering it. You know what I mean? But there are ways to interact with this material that doesn't end in an airlock, and we need to get there.
And I think what I've been actually reassessing my appreciation for Aliens. I mean, I love Aliens. It's a masterpiece of a film. Everybody knows that. I know that. But I think I haven't given James Cameron the credit that he fully deserves with what he pulled off. But as you are talking about that, Christian, I think about nothing that we see, the eggs, nothing is a trope. Everything is character-based. The Queen is a character. The aliens that we see are characters. Nothing is turned into tropes. And with Alien 3, again, we see a glimpse of an egg, we see things here, but they don't come off as tropey things. They come off, I'll even say this for Resurrection. They don't feel like tropes. They feel like, well, they're given the space in Resurrection, like when you see all the people lined up over the eggs. Like, that's a really scary, gross moment. It doesn't feel like, oh, we got to show you this. We got to show you this for this and this and this. It feels relevant. And I think when you treat the life cycle with the respect that it is, not that it's this trope or this puppet, it does something to at least for me, like emotionally, psychologically, it sits in me. But if it's just this trope thing, which I think, like, for instance, in Covenant, when Orem is face hugged, it feels less consequential. It feels tropey because, oh, we got to do this thing. It doesn't quite work as well because it's turned into something different, and the life cycle sped up there too. And I think when you give something the space to grow, pardon the pun, it really works. That foreboding, that atmosphere that something could happen at any moment, and we don't know what moment it is, as opposed to, well, for the sake of time, we need this to happen in 30 seconds, So I'm excited for what Hawley is bringing, because it looks like there is an egg in this show. In that one little 7-second clip that was released last year, I think it was last year, you see a hand on an egg. It was very sticky looking. I would imagine it was an egg. We're going to see that. It looks like we're going to see these things, but we're not going to. They'll have like 10 episodes that are essentially an hour long to really show us what they're doing with it, and I'm so excited about it.
I think things are only as tropey as you treat them, honestly. Every trope at some point was something compelling. And Alien is no exception to that, right? Like, there's a reason these things have become troped, is because they've just been done so many times. And to Christian's point and Jamie's point and others' points, it's become a shorthand. So it's like, of course, this is the life cycle. We got to get from here to there. So let's get some people pregnant and blow them up. You know what I mean? But like the physical horror of that happening to you is something that's timelessly frightening. Like, it's not like that's suddenly not scary anymore. And somebody like Noah Hawley, I think, understands that. Like, to Jamie's point, what if this is drawn out over time? And what if, Rogue Incursion plays with this idea, and, not to spoil anything, but of the idea of like what it would be like if this were to happen to you, and what would you do with the time you have, and, things like that. Not a spoiler for Rogue Incursion. play it if you haven't played it yet. I think that is something really, really compelling, and I can't wait. And I just to Holden's point about Noah Hawley, like he has been one of my favorite creative people for like a decade, maybe more than that now. I mean, for a really long time. And it's I've never lost for a second that sense of like awe that he is doing a television series on this franchise. Like that is a dream for those of us who have loved his work for a very long time. And the fact that he is like the least sacred cow-ifying of any person I know. I mean, he took Legion, which was this, to be honest, very boring, X-Men adjacent character, right? And made that show into something that was like completely avant-garde. I mean, completely avant-garde to the point where a lot of people couldn't even watch it because it's just so crazy and bombastic and confusing.
And
And it took me like
scary.
6 tries to get through it. It's so scary and it's so unsettling. And then you stick with it and you're so rewarded because it's like really well constructed. And then for him to do Fargo, which likewise, I mean, that's something where like I remember when the first season was announced and I was like, how the hell are they going to make a TV show about a movie? Like it didn't make any sense. And a movie that felt like such a rare bird in its own. Like it's like how can you make that into a TV show? And like not only did he figure that out, but he did it in such a I mean an iconoclastically brilliant way that it like is now coming in 5 seasons, 6 seasons. Like who knows how long that's going to be going for. And every single time a new season gets announced, I'm like, oh, I can't wait to watch what he's gonna do with this all over again. And now that guy's doing Alien. I mean, it is really exciting. So we think we know everything, we think we can pick things apart, but we honestly just have no clue what's in store. I think I'm
And
really
just
really excited.
and just for the record, this show, Alien Earth, was announced almost 5 years ago during COVID. At the end of 2020, it was announced during Disney's big thing.
Yep.
So I mean, I remember how excited I was when not thinking maybe it's a year and a half away, 2 years away, 5 years later.
But it was announced as well, this is what I would have done, but they're not going with it. That's the original thing that he said was, this was my pitch, but they're not going to do it. And then it was picked up.
Well,
I
I think
swear.
no, you're right, Christian, but that was before the Disney announcement.
Even further.
That
Yeah, that was
when
29.
Fox
That was
owned-
2019.
That was when
Okay.
Fox owned it, and
So-
they
Yeah.
said Alien should stay in theaters. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's just funny to wait 6 years and still not know the exact date that the show is coming out.
Yeah.
We'll be here. We'll wait for it.
We
Do you
Yeah.
guys remember there actually was an attempt at a Fargo show years earlier with the lady who played Carmine on Sopranos,
Falco.
Edie Falco.
Edie,
Yeah.
yeah.
As the but carrying on the character from the original Coen Brothers movie, which
Huh.
wasn't going to work. It wasn't going to work, and that's the beauty. Noah Hawley could see that. Don't take the obvious approach. You know what I mean? Like, and that's I have to keep reminding myself of that. Is that he's not going to do the thing that because an Alien TV show was pitched after '79. They were talking about ways of doing a low budget spin-off of the movie set on Earth. You know what I mean? It's these ideas aren't new, but his approach will be new. So
I actually didn't know that about the Alien show.
I didn't know that
interesting.
either, honestly.
oh,
It's interesting.
yeah, oh yeah.
That deserves a hive episode.
I mean,
because
they're not
that's-
they're not good ideas.
That's an
I'll tell you
interesting
that.
but there's very cool history behind that, though. I think that'd be a fun hive to do someday, Christian.
But
Absolutely.
like Andor, though, Andor is very different Star Wars. It's tonally
Yeah.
very different. It's a long game. It's you have to sit like I watched the first 3 episodes of this new season, and at the end I was like, and for a while, like I don't spoil anything, but for a while I'm like, man, like I wasn't upset or anything. I was like, wow, this is going on for a long time. But I like that it made me uncomfortable. I want a show that pushes me to feel like this could be something else. Like I don't want to gatekeep. I don't want to say what Alien should or shouldn't be. And we're going to get more into that next week. But I want this show to be like, well, let's do something a little bit different. That's what we're all asking for. So when we see it, I think we're going to need to be patient.
Alien
that Andor-
Severance. Just kidding.
something
Ben
that
Stiller
Andor
do it.
did. They've just got to say out loud. Andor makes the stormtroopers scary again. Stormtroopers have been a
Oh,
joke.
yeah.
Stormtroopers have been. I mean, I love you go to Galaxy's Edge and the stormtroopers joke around with you, right? But Andor's like, no. these are stormtroopers. They can shoot you, they can kill you. You know what I mean? Like, and I want that level of respect brought back. And again, this is no way. None of us are saying that Romulus wasn't an amazing film, but there's something that could be added more. I just feel like there's value that can be brought back to this.
Romulus.
Maybe I'm the only
like,
one that's thinking that.
No, I think Romulus is
No,
like
yeah.
the period, like it's like the last period on a paragraph. It's like, this is what this series has been. This is what we're presenting to you, to newbies. Like it's the best hits of everything that you've seen before. Now Fede is about to embark on something brand new. That's what I think.
I hope.
I think you
Yeah.
could be absolutely right about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I really hope. It has to be. Because if it's more of the same, then it's not going to do well. But that's another conversation.
Yeah, and this is not going to be more of the same. I got to say,
No,
at least
it
the
will
TV
not.
series is not going to be. Well, happy Alien Day, everybody. We're gonna pull this back into the station. I think I have to put the kids to bed, as you can tell they're coming in the room right now.
Oh,
Are they?
Oh wow.
Oh, nice.
Oh, Christian.
what is it key off of?
Yeah.
Micro changes in air
Micro-
density.
Yeah.
Micro changes in air
Density, my ass.
Yeah.
I can't get it. Anyway,
I
just
love
what
it.
I've been working on.
I love
All
it,
right.
Christian.
Yeah, that's
Happy
awesome.
Alien Day.
Happy Alien Day,
amazing.
everybody.
Happy Alien Day, everybody.
Happy Alien Day,
Happy
everybody.
Talk
Alien Day.
soon. Bye.
Bye.